Hi there. How are you? My name is Patrice Williams, and we are continuing our post-election coverage. So excited. I have my very special guest, my husband Earl. I guess you all are looking like, why do you have your husband Earl on your show?
Exactly. I'm thinking the same thing.
The reason why you're here, darling, is because you really know and understand elections. You understand national election numbers. You understand how to look at election results by state. For the last 20 years being married to you, it's fun. Election night is fun with you because you know so much. And now I get to bring people into our home and let you explain presidential election results to all of us like you do to me every year. So I'm going to bring up the election results screen. And you've been on for the last few days. And you told us that Biden was winning. Still at 253. What is the deal? What are we waiting for?
I mean, it's pretty much over. He's going to win Pennsylvania. It's just a matter of what the margin is going to be. But when election night started on Tuesday, he was, I believe, over 600,000 votes behind President Trump. Today, Friday, I think he's 9,000 votes above President Trump, and he's trending upwards. So he's probably going to end up winning Pennsylvania by, they're projecting 40,000 votes. So the count is slow because the city of Philadelphia never has gotten this much mail-in vote. They're just overwhelmed. So at the end of the day, when they're able to count every single vote, the election will be certified and Joe Biden will be elected president of the United States. He's ahead in Nevada. He's ahead in Arizona. The networks just don't want to call those two states, but
and why? Why don't they want to call it?
Because they're just being careful. They want to. 92% of the vote is in. The votes are trending upward in both states, so they're just being rather be safe than sorry. But when you look at the data, if he's trending every time they get a batch of votes, he's trending upwards. So they know when the count gets to 99%, he's going to win both of those states because the last remaining votes are in Democratic areas. Trump has won all of the rural vote in Nevada and Arizona. The numbers are in the heavily populated big city areas. So in Arizona, that would be Phoenix, Maricopa County. That's a Democratic county. So Biden is going to win the majority of those votes. Nevada, the county is Clark County. That's Las Vegas. He's going to win the majority of the votes in Las Vegas. So
there's a lot of confusion. I was watching the Donald Trump press coverage yesterday. I saw that he had some press. He had press coverage, but no one was showing it. So I went online and I said, what is happening? What did he say that none of the news channels want to highlight his coverage? And it was everywhere, from him feeling like votes were being stolen. He said people are just writing Biden's name and sending it in later to be counted. What's the deal? Like, what is he upset about?
If you are the major networks and Donald Trump starts off the press conference by saying all the votes that showed me winning earlier in the night, those votes should be counted. when the tally started showing that I was losing later on in the night and into the next morning, those votes should not be counted. Well, why would you show that? That's just a flat out lie. His votes were shown first because they did the same day totals, meaning those people that voted for Donald Trump that same day, those votes were counted first in Florida, in Texas. No, I believe they showed Biden first, the mail ballots.
So let me make sure I understand. So you're saying the day of vote, Tuesday's votes were counted first in some states.
Okay.
And then on that same states, all of the absentee votes were counted later. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. If you voted in Solano County on Tuesday, then your vote was going to be counted first. If you did a mail-in ballot, it was going to be counted after the people who voted same day. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, really.
I'm laughing because this is how he talks to me at home.
What are we talking about?
He breaks down this complicated stuff and he's like, it's just that simple. It's just that simple. I don't understand. Why don't you understand? Why aren't you following me?
So, I mean, that's why in some states, it went like that. Some states, they counted the mail-in ballots first. For instance, in Florida, Biden jumped out to almost a 500,000 vote lead. It was because they counted the mail-in ballots first. In the state of Florida, you can count mail-in ballots first. You don't start putting them on the tally until the election, until the time to vote. So if the voting closes at 7 o'clock in Florida, then you can officially start tallying the mail-in votes. But their people have been counting those votes all week. So when the polls closed in Florida, I think at 7 o'clock Eastern time, they instantly knew the number of mail-in ballots. So they fed them into the system. The count immediately came out and Biden was ahead, almost 500,000 votes, 450, somewhere along those lines. Well, after they did that, then they started counting the same day voting, which Trump won 2-1. So by the middle of the night, Trump had surpassed Biden and he ended up winning Florida. In the other states, it's just reversed. In Pennsylvania, the state legislature made a rule that mail-in ballots were to be counted after the same day. So that meant that even though Pennsylvania had all those mail-in ballots, they couldn't start counting them that week or what have you. They had to wait till the polls closed. The same day ballots were then counted for Trump, which gave him that big lead. After that, then they were able to count the mail-in ballots. Now, if the state of Philadelphia had allowed those ballots to be counted all during the week, then when the polls closed, they would have had all of those ballots. And there wouldn't be this issue with people waiting all these days. There's no nefarious activity. There's no conspiracy. Votes aren't falling out of the sky. They're not coming out of garbage cans. You know, I don't know what to really say. I mean.
So you read the chat. We're going to get Sara back in the room. We had some technical difficulties a little early, so sorry we streamed so late. We're going to get Sara Palmisano back in the room and a few of our other friends. So who do you see on the chat?
Tiffany Jones, how are you?
It's her birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
She has a graphic where it says drop her some cash or a video.
I'll get right on it.
Robin Walker is here. She says, amazing. I see you're doing a good job. Sara, we need you back to give us a recap of our earlier, before we went to a technical glitch. Tiffany Jones says a recount, and there's a recount in Georgia and it's pending. Hey, Christian, how are you? She says you're doing a great job on your analysis. It's very helpful. Michelle Coleman, hello. She says that Donald Trump is putting out lies. Unsu is here. Unsu has a question. She says, can Biden hold on in Arizona since Donald Trump is trending up in votes being counted now and cutting into Biden's lead?
I mean, at this point, Arizona is gravy. President Biden or Vice President Biden, by the numbers, he's going to surpass, he's already surpassed Trump in Pennsylvania. So it really doesn't matter what happens in Arizona. He was at 253. So if he wins Pennsylvania, he gets those 20 votes, which pushes him to 273. So Arizona and Nevada, he doesn't even need them. He
doesn't need those.
If he wins Pennsylvania, he doesn't need those electoral votes to win the presidency. He only has to win Pennsylvania because he was at 253. If he wins Nevada, which is more likely, the numbers will bear out. So even though it looks like Trump is gaining, Trump has to get the remaining, he has to get 59% of the remaining ballots coming in Arizona, in those Democratic counties. So in those Democratic counties, when the votes come in, President Trump has to get 59% of those votes. He's only getting 52, 53, and Biden was already ahead. So he's never going to be able to make up the margin. He'll make up a little, but Biden's going to end up winning the majority of those votes because they're in heavily Democratic counties. So he may win the state, I don't know, by anywhere between 10 and 20,000 votes, or maybe 10,000. But because Biden had a lead in the state, and because the remaining votes are left in heavily Democratic areas, Donald Trump will not make up the numbers. He'll gain some, but he won't be able to surpass them. That's why on election night, Vice President Biden came out and he said, the campaign feels very comfortable where we are. He said, when all the votes are tallied, we feel comfortable that we're going to win. Trump hadn't even come out on election night till I believe after midnight. But when Biden came out, he was confident that he was going to win. That's because his team knew that the remaining outstanding ballots that were in Arizona and Nevada were in heavily Democratic counties. And Trump had already gotten his same day voting. They had already tallied those votes. So Biden knew he was going to win the mail-in votes in those heavily Democratic areas. That's why they were always confident. And as the days went on and the votes got counted, it came out to fruition.
When do you think we will know? We're ready for this to end already.
Well, it's over now. Just believe it in your mind. I mean, you know, if you want to stress yourselves out, that like I need to see it. I mean, it's over, people. Everything is for the ratings, the narrative. It's over. It's a wrap.
Do you have anything to tell us about the Senate and House seats?
Well, because it appears that Vice President Biden is going to win Georgia. So they had 2 Senate races in Georgia. In Georgia, you have to get 50% plus 1. So because Biden came back and took the lead in Georgia, even though it's a slight lead, though the Republican senator that was over 50 all week has now fallen below 50. So he's at like 49.2 or something. And the other senator, she had a runoff election with a Democratic candidate. She was a Republican. So she won hers. Kelly Loeffler won hers. on the Republican side, and Raphael Warnock won his on the Democratic side. That was that was a runoff. So those two, Kelly Loeffler, Republican, versus Raphael Warnock, Democrat, are going to run for one Senate seat in Atlanta, and the other Senate seat will be between Ossoff and David Perdue, because Perdue did not get over 50%. He was over 50%, but as the votes came in later, he fell under 50%. Okay. So that means there's going to be a runoff in January. If those two Democratic candidates win the two runoff elections in Georgia, and you combine that with the two seats that were picked up by the Democrats in Arizona and Colorado, the Senate would be 50-50, and Vice President Harris would be the deciding vote to be 51-50. So that's why those two races are very key for the Democrats. If they win both, the Senate is split, and if there's a tie, Kamala Harris comes in and breaks the tie. So that's going to be a big deal in the coming weeks, coming months. There's one more Senate race in Alaska. The Democrat is down right now. He could win, but it would be a miracle. But, you never know. So that's the status of the Senate race.
Okay. So Lisa says that she loves your commentary. It's funny. I think it is.
Thank you, Lisa.
And that, we have total election PTSD. I agree. Aunt Sue says that she loves your perspective, but she's your auntie, so there's that. Debbie Toth is on. She says, go on, Earl. She said, you're doing a good job. And Tanya thinks you're funny too. And so does Christian. We think you're very funny. Oh, and Sarah is here. Sarah is commenting on the chat, but she is here. We're going to bring her on now, her and Kevin. Do you have anything else to say?
No. It's been fun.
Bring your chair. Thank you, sir. All right. I have to drag him into the live stream every day. Every day. He's like, somebody else can do this. But I don't know. I don't know. He makes me laugh. I don't know if he makes y'all laugh. Hello. Hi, we're back. We're back. I was apologizing to everyone a little bit ago that we were having some technical difficulties. Technical difficulties, and we did a segment, it didn't record right, it didn't go in through the stream right, so you all are back, and we're going to do this again. And before we do, Sarah, I know you were giving feedback about the U.S. elections, and give us your feedback in person, and I'm going to shift us to Solano County elections.
Just been the total emotion, my friends, because I've just been mirage is gonna pull
your audio. Your audio is real strange. That's you and your fancy audio equipment. Sarah's adjusting. How are you, Kevin?
I am well today. There we go.
There you are. I'm good. Thank you for coming back.
Oh, sure.
And while Sarah's working on audio, what I'm going to do is get us to Rio Vista, so you can give us a sense of Rio Vista landscape. Okay. You were telling us a little bit about, because I was at first looking for your school board for Rio Vista, and you said no. Our school board is a little unique. So give us a 1 minute of Rio Vista. Why there's no, no, not why there's no, but there's no Rio Vista Unified School District, right?
Yeah. Well, there's what's called River Delta Unified, and River Delta Unified is a sprawling regional unified school district that goes all the way from Clarksburg down to the Antioch Bridge and then over to Denton Road on Highway 12 there, just outside of Sassoon. A huge district, square mile wise, but it's a relatively strict with the number of students they have. We have 2 small high schools in the district, one in Clarksburg, which is Delta High School, and Rio Vista High. And the district is divided up into trustee districts. And this time Rio Vista has 2 trustees on the school board, and this time neither of them were up because they were both up on the 2018 election. We have a mayor and city council race.
Yeah, we have that on now.
Yeah, and in our mayoral race, we had 3 candidates, and incumbent Mayor Ron Cott, who appointed in 2018, was reelected because basically the Democrats and the progressive vote was split between two candidates. The Rio Vista Democratic Club had endorsed Emily, as had the Solano County Central Committee. That was the only race that anybody sought endorsements in. We had one race that was that's a 2-year seat, and it was unopposed. The appointed councilman was reelected because there was no opposition to him, and he'll be up again in 2 years because he was filling the seat that he was filling Ron Cott's seat when he became mayor. So
is that why that's considered a short term?
Yes.
Okay.
So in 2022, he'll be up for election again.
So short term means they're completing someone else's term.
Right.
Okay. I think I understand. But there was there were 4 people that were looking for the full term seat, and only Eric Doak went after the short term seat.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So when I look at the vote for 2, there at the top here, is it Walt Stanish and Deborah King?
Uh-huh.
And do you feel like there's going to be much movement, more mail-in ballots coming into Rio Vista?
No, probably not many.
Okay.
Not enough to really change the results.
So this cake is baked.
Pretty much.
Okay. And who are Walt Stanish and Deborah J. King? Are those 2 folks that you feel real good about being at the helm and being on the city council?
Well, Walt is a small businessman in town. He runs the pet store we have in town, and he was also on the he was the head of the Chamber of Commerce, and he was also on one of the city commissions.
Okay.
I can't remember it right away. He's pretty he tends Republican, but he tends to be fairly moderate. He's not a Trumper.
Got it.
Now,
Okay.
Deborah King is a real conservative Republican.
Got it. Got it. Now, how does that balance out the current Rio Vista City Council? Do you feel like it's balanced? Do you feel like
our city council's trending Republican right now? Okay. Mayor Cott is a Republican, and then Deborah King is Don Ruse is a Republican. Deborah King's a Republican. It's right now we've got a pretty Republican city council.
Got it. Okay. Sounds like the Democratic Club has a little work to do in 2 years, starting now.
We do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But from what I understand, Emily had a really great run.
She did.
I live in Fairfield, and I was hearing about her.
And again, the problem was we had two progressives running in the same race, and they each drew enough votes from the other to give Mayor Cott a plurality victory.
Right. Right. Well, thank you for that. You know, we're going to make sure that we keep Rio Vista. You all are just quiet in northern Solano. We're going to make sure we keep you all in the conversation. Yeah,
well, we will work on it.
I was telling you in the other segment that you know, I knew of you as in being in Rio Vista, and I was talking to you on the phone a few years ago, and my then high schooler was ear hustling, and he said, "That's Mr. Mack," and I'm like. He didn't even go to elementary school here in Fairfield, but he said that his friends that he went to high school with talked about you while in high school. They're talking about you and how you impacted them in elementary school, and said that you were the best teacher, the best.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
I certainly appreciate that.
Yep, but these days you're living that amazing retiree life.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had been doing lots of traveling until COVID put a stop to that.
Yeah, you just have to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we have if Sarah's audio. Should we do an audio check, Sara? Nope, we don't hear you.
How about now?
Oh, so we can hear you, but it's low.
That is so weird.
Yeah, perfect.
Good?
Good.
Okay.
It's excellent.
Now we can hear you.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now. I'm gonna take the screen and convert to Vacaville, but while I do that, give us a spiel. It just turns out that we have two very engaged people here of their respective Democratic clubs. So, Sara, if you could give us a little bit about the Northern Solano Democratic Club, and a little bit about how we met.
So, Patrice came to talk to the Northern Solano Democratic Club about Black engagement and Black voting, specifically with like a history bent.
Of their respective Democratic clubs. So, Sara, if you could give us a little bit about the...
Are you hearing playback?
Yeah.
Okay, that wasn't me. I don't know what that was. Okay.
That was me.
Anyway, so Patrice came to talk to us about Black voting, Black voter engagement, and history. And voting engagement and voter registration has always been a big passion of mine. I really got engaged in 2008 in the Obama campaign in Southern California. We managed to do a monumental feat, which is flipping San Bernardino County blue into Democratic territory, which we also eventually took, which is actually incredible. But not to pat my own self on the back, it was a huge team, but it made me incredibly engaged when it comes to getting folks interested in voting and why people vote, and the processes and registration. And if you train people how to register people, then they get really hype and really into it, and then they go register people, and kind of the psychology behind voting too. And Kay, Patrice, and I were just kind of like two voter registration engagement magnets across the room. And it was just sort of like, oh my God, you're my people. And I think Julia's here. She was there. And I don't know, we started having cocktails and Thai food and planning for the future of Solano County. And, it was just sort of a sisterhood made from the democratic process.
It's beautiful. I'm going to show you. And by the way, it's been an absolute pleasure being in your circle and being friends with you.
Same. You inspire me so much. And this is so cool what you're doing. Watching your show every day this week has been so inspiring. It's really cool to see like local Solano folks talking about their races.
And that was really the vision for the show, because I get to hear my husband who you all have met, fussing about the national politics, and I don't get it sometimes. And he's like, you don't understand, and fussing and da da da. And I'm like, why can't we do this locally? Why can't we have this online interactive type of platform where we can talk about local politics, local candidates, really get to know them, put names with faces as much as possible so that we are more engaged. And so thank you for you both being part of the dream. I appreciate it. So, I was so glad when you sent me a message, because I was looking at the races and looking at city of Vacaville and thinking, what I'm looking at is pretty extraordinary. And then you sent me a message and I was like, oh, come on, Sara. I need you to tell us, walk us through this. Oh, Julia is on. She says hello.
Hey, Julia.
So give us a lay of the land surrounding specifically City of Vacaville City Council, who is now on this City Council, and give us like a wide scope of this group in addition to who's still on.
Okay, so it's actually really interesting, and I'm going to start with a little bit of history and context. So Julia, myself, a handful of other community organizers pushed to get Vacaville to 6 districts with an at-large mayor in 2018. And fortunately, a couple of departed city council members sided with us against what I would call hostile city council. They were not interested in expanding to 6 districts. They wanted to keep it at 4 if they had to go to districts. And we believe that 6 districts gives a more equitable balance of power in Vacaville, which is something that's been missing. So this is our first election with districts, which is really exciting. So I'm going to skip 1 and go back to it in a minute. But districts 3, 5, and 6, all the winners are registered Democrats who are involved locally with our Democratic Club. We supported them heavily, and I think it really shows here that what we've created as far as our organization and our community around progressive politics here really was effective. And it's also, I think, a referendum against the politics that council has so far eschewed towards. It's often been conservative, it's often been business-based, and not a lot of folks with a lot of community engagement or organizing experience. Jeanette Wiley, a ton of organizing experience, and is a union organizer. Incredible woman. Every time I've volunteered for her, she has charts, she's organized, you know where you have to be. And I feel like that's the kind of person that you really need on city council. Going backwards, Jason Roberts, a little bit new on the scene to us, but he's been in Vacaville for quite a while. He works with vets with Rincon, which is like a disaster preparedness group. He's been on your show. He's great. But I think the thing that really pushed him over the edge is the fire here in Vacaville. And we had a text chain with people that we called the helpers. during the fire. And he was running from house to house, wetting down houses, digging trenches. He posted a PSA on Facebook about make sure your shoes can go through ash because these couldn't. Like, this man is a rock star. And I think considering what we just went through in the city, which was traumatic and alarming, I think everyone in the city said, you know what, we need someone with that kind of leadership experience and that kind of experience with disaster readiness and preparedness. Thanks, Tiff.
I agree. I feel exactly the same way when I met him.
Okay, so then going back to Michael Silva. Mike Silva is a school board member in 2018. He's a community organizer. He's a biotech professor. He's incredibly involved with kids in his community, making sure underprivileged kids go to college. And he unfortunately faced a lot of smear attacks, but he really pulled it out. And I think his positivity, personally, he's a friend, so I kind of glow about him. Shout out to Mike. If you're free tonight, we are having his victory party on Zoom. Go to Facebook. It's going to be a blast. But he's someone that I think is really inspiring to folks in Vacaville, especially, the Latinx community, which is growing and deserves a seat at the table, frankly. So those three were registered Democrats and supported by the Northern Solano Democratic Club. We had walks for them. We sent out a mailer to every registered Democrat in our city. I'm so excited, Tiffany, for him to be on council. He's also really pushing the district and the city council working together, which isn't something that has been able to happen in Vacaville in quite a few years. And having Michael Kitzes and Kelly Welsh on school board, who are also Democrats supported by Northern Solano Democratic Club and just amazing people themselves, I think that's really going to make a big difference in how the community feels about the representatives elected in Vacaville. So going back to Roy, who's District 1, personally, I don't know him. I was supporting Wendy Brecken. I think it's interesting because the Northern Solano Democratic Club sent out a flyer, like I said, to all registered Democrats. And we couldn't support Wendy because she's not a registered Democrat. We can't endorse her. All of our other candidates won. And unfortunately, Wendy didn't. She's independent, no knocks against her. She's great. I really like her personally. And Roy Stockton, I've heard good things about. So I'm, interested to see what he's about and have conversations. Fortunately, we were able to interview him for the People's Forum, and he gave really great answers to some tough questions.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Roy. He really, really cares about the community. During the shutdown of Solano County, he was calling and he was like, I'm really concerned for small business owners throughout the county. Yes, in my area too, but throughout the county. Can you let me know what I can do? Like, he does that all the time. Those calls where he's not asking to be public. He's not on my Facebook page saying, anything. He's behind the scenes, working and seeing how he can help. And I think he works in Vallejo now. So he was even asking about Vallejo. Like, why does he care about Vallejo? He just cares about Solano County. I think you have a gem there. And I have heard great things about Wendy surrounding, I'm in the transitional housing world. And I heard that she's a big supporter in that world. But I believe Roy Stockton is a listener of people, of the community, and we'll be able to talk to him. I do.
And that's what I'm hoping for this council, because as someone, and Julia can also attest to this, who goes to city council meetings, we feel like we're talking to a brick wall. Of all the things we've brought to the dais, maybe one or two have ever even gone further than that discussion or us speaking to council. I feel like with this board, with the city council, we're going to have a lot more engagement with concerned community members around the things that people care about. It's not just filling potholes. There's a lot of other more structural issues going on here. And I feel like this council really is going to be able to make a lot of headway. We have the OPEB, the unfunded liability issue. We're headed toward a fiscal cliff here, and our council is just sort of hiding their heads in the sand about it. And so I feel like this team especially is really going to take that on, especially with our already, existing rock star council member, Nolan Sullivan. I think this team is really gonna make headway where it's important for our city.
You mentioned Nolan Sullivan. Nolan Sullivan, I don't know if I'm on his email list or maybe I follow him on social media, but he gives the most amazing summaries of what's happening in Vacaville and just his point of view and how we could do better. I've never seen anything like it from any elected official. It's pretty amazing.
Nolan is a hero of mine personally and a friend, and I find him so inspirational. He's a big force behind what happened in Vacaville this year. A lot of us who are community stakeholders with more progressive beliefs got together and said, we can't do this again. We can't take another year of city council ignoring us, especially with the stuff going on nationwide where it comes to racial equity. We have a really active community organizing protesting group here, Vacavibe, and they feel like they're not being heard, and they're incredibly frustrated with the existing council. And we all kind of got together, a lot of us, and said, okay, what do we need to do? And one of the things we did was put on the People's Forum, which was a crowdsourced a forum for questions for city council members that don't typically get asked at, small business or chamber of commerce forums. And we asked about LGBTQ rights. We asked about mental health concerns. We asked about youth in our community. We asked tough questions, and people really dug in and answered. And the people that answered and participated are the people who won.
Wow.
I think that means a lot,
I think it does mean a lot. And I'm grateful that we did go to district elections. I think our new elected body looks different because of the district election.
And we have a ways to go too. We don't have any Black women on council. We have a Latino men. We have a huge Filipino population. I would love to see American Pacific Islander on the council here. And I feel like, especially as NSDC, as much as we've become involved in the local political landscape, it's on us to go find those folks and say, hey, we'll support you, to constantly keep your radar up and your eyes out for someone who could be a leader and would run for office and, excel in pushing our community further.
I was telling you in the last segment that I think the Northern Solano Democratic Club, because I go to all of them, except for I haven't gone to yours, Kevin. I haven't gone to Rio Vista. I just haven't taken the drive up there. But the rest of them I have, and you all are a standout. There's one in Vallejo, and I've gone, and I don't feel welcome as a Democrat. It was an uncomfortable situation, and I'll never, ever go there again. Where I came and walked into yours, and I felt like I was home because I was a Democrat, And when I look at what you all accomplished, it is, we're always hyper sensitive and intensive toward national, but you all said we are going to make a difference in our local city, and you did it.
We definitely have to shout out our e-board. Julia's here. She's the vice president. She came up with an incredible ploy to make money to fundraise this year, which was to have a cooking show with our candidates. We did one with Jeanette Wiley and one with Mike Silva. At the time, they were the only ones who were announced because it was in the early summer. But Alice is this incredible cook, and she made jambalaya, and then we made Mike's tacos. But we raised a ton of money for our candidates, so that was really big. That was just Julia's idea. Our e-board is really innovative and creative, and I think determined and passionate, and I think that makes a big difference. And we have this whole cadre of new folks, young women of color who are super interested in leadership, and I think we're only going, to grow and become more of a force in Northern Solano over the years. If you're interested, find us on Facebook. Our next meeting is Tuesday. We didn't set an agenda. We just wanted to have kind of a safe space for everyone to talk about the election, not knowing what was going to happen on Monday. And Jeannie White is our president. She'll never take the credit. She's incredible. Alice Freed is the one who did all the cooking shows, and she's kind of our, just kind of our voice you get these incredible sermons about politics and voting. Don Lowry is our treasurer, but he's so much more. He runs the candidate trainings. The man is just a dynamo when it comes to Northern Solano politics and numbers. And obviously, got to shout out Julia, who is the vice president. Yeah, we just have a really great team, and we really want people to feel like they can get involved in the democratic process locally without it being boring and without it being gatekeepery. You know, we want people to want to come to our meetings.
Mm-hmm. And transparency. I have to say that that I am a Democrat. I am an ADEM delegate, but I really do like all parties. I have friends in every party, and one of my friends just ran for against John Garamendi, Tamika Hamilton, and I love her. Like politically, I'm like, you know, I can't deal, but I want her to be on the show. I want her to be engaged. I love balanced politics. I don't really love it when it leans one way. I like it when it's synergy and it works together. Like that is really what I want. That beautiful synergy where it's like, you know, I'm super conservative or I'm, you know, super liberal, but let's walk together and let's learn from each other. And, you know, maybe, you know, I pull you more to the fiscal the fiscal responsibility, but I'm pulling you to diversity and all voices to the table. And this is how all of these pockets, this is how you know, we need to be seen. I don't know. I just feel like there's got to be some type of merger. But I don't know. I need some Republicans to come on my show. Don't be scared. Come on the show. We want to talk to you. I want to make sure that you, Sara, and you, Kevin, if you see the chat, and if not, send it in a private chat and I'll post it, your organization's website and URL, because we want to make sure that we can get to you. People that are interested can contact you all, and especially in this day of, you know, a pandemic and beyond. And while you all are doing that, I want you to stay tight with me, because I'm going to go to, after these messages, and by the way, let me shout out some folks that I'm seeing. I saw Vernille Blumfield. She is, I believe, a member of your Democratic Club. I remember seeing her when I came in to the Northern Solano Democratic Club. Sara, is that right? But she's also the Northern Solano Dem vice chair. And then we have Tiffany Jones, that's a regional vice chair as well. They're all saying hello. I see Julia. Oh, by the way, Tiffany Jones, your birthday is today. Happy birthday, ma'am. And I think we may have lost some people. Oh, hi, Shauna. How are you? Shauna Murray. And we might have lost some people when we start talking from from the U.S. point of view to Solano, because I know I have a kind of a wide base there. I wanted to show you all Benicia. Benicia has a very interesting race. So after these meetings, after these shows, people will call me, text me, and say, will you talk about this specific race? So I want to do that. I want to talk about a specific race that is the city of Benicia. And let's look at it and get your point of view. And I think we may even have, Lisa, do we have Doris coming on? We may have Doris coming on, so we could congratulate her. So, city of Benicia has an interesting race. that I got a few texts and calls about and said, you need to talk about the Benicia mayoral race. So I'll do that. And some of you all may know that I supported Christina Strawbridge, and both Christina Strawbridge and Steve Young are now we're both on the city council, on the Benicia City Council. I knew Christina. I know her heart, I know her spirit, and I supported her. But what's unique about this race is that Steve Young won by a landslide. He won by a landslide. And the reason why is Valero has an independent expenditure that they ran to support Christina and against Steve Young. Usually the mayoral race is tight. There's less than a 500 vote difference. I don't have it in front of me. I feel like one year it was 150, another year it was 250. So within the last 15 years, there's been this narrow, whereas Valero did an independent expenditure, and the community believes that Benicia doesn't like that type of politics. They don't want independent expenditures coming into their small town and telling them who they should vote for. And so, so I was telling people that were calling me. They said, "Look, you're supporting Christina," and I told them why. And they told me about and they said of independent expenditure. I said, "Well, here's the unique thing: once an organization does an independent expenditure, the candidate cannot talk to them. They can't talk to them at all. And so it puts whoever they're supporting at a, you can't say, you can't do this. This is awful. The community is like that. And also, full transparency again, I will tell you that I like Valero. I did a lot of research on them when I was running for District 2 County Supervisor, and I like how they take safety seriously. I talked to the labor unions that work there, the workers that work at Valero, and the stuff that they said about Valero gave them high marks. They said, look, we have members that's working everywhere, and they care about our safety. Their numbers are so high. Their safety numbers are 1 or 2. We like how they work in the community. We love how they dump money into the community and different organizations. So I know that this is a good organization, and we don't want Valero to leave. Why? Because if Valero leaves, there's going to be a lot of jobs, and there's be a lot of the Benicia budget that's going to leave. But it's obvious. The Benicians have spoken. They do not want independent expenditures like that in their city. So anyway, we're talking about lessons learned and looking at that. So I don't know. What do you think, Kevin? I know I know you worked in Fairfield. You live in Rio Vista. Were you looking at this race? Did you have any thoughts about it?
I really didn't look at Benicia at all. I was pretty busy with helping Emily. So no, I didn't know much about it. Although when I was a teacher, I was the political action chair, and we ran independent expenditure campaigns for school boards in Fairfield.
Oh, now that is interesting because, I don't know how involved you are in that as a retiree. Are you still involved as do you have to be an active teacher, or
You have to be an active member to be on their political action committee, but two of our candidates that we ran in 2016, one had won last time, Joan Gott, and she ran again and won. And Ann Petrero, she had lost last time by like 80 votes, and she won the district out by Solano College that had been represented by John Silva. And now Ann Petrero is going to be the new school board member from there.
Right. Now, the numbers for board, the Fairfield Unified School District, Area 2, did the numbers shift? Because I thought Joan was winning, but it feels like I see a shift in numbers here.
I don't know. Your page is too small on my screen, so
according to this, Helen Tilly is 3105, and Joan Gott is at 2912.
Oh. Okay, so that must have switched since I looked at on election night.
Oh yeah, because some mail-in votes are coming in, and I don't know if they're in yet, where we are with that, but yeah. And I've met Joan too. I don't know Helen. I not met Joan, but I saw her at an endorsement interview and was really blown away by her. I was really impressed.
Helen had been on school board before also.
So are you saying that the Fairfield, the teachers, it was it Joan and Anna? And Clifford. And Clifford
Yeah,
Gordon.
I think they endorsed. I'm not sure if they endorsed Clifford or not, but
I feel like they may have, but I don't know for sure. So that's too. That independent expenditure was made, but can you imagine if a candidate went to you all and say, those mailers you did, don't do any more of those mailers. You can't do it. You can't have that conversation, right?
They cannot. In fact, when you're doing an independent expenditures, you really can't coordinate with the candidates at all. You can't coordinate with their campaigns. It's basically you do what you do and we'll do what we do.
Right. Well, and I tell you, so we just saw where an independent expenditure had a negative impact on a campaign in Benicia. So I'm asking you, off the cuff, if we don't know if Clifford was part of that. We're not sure, but Joan was, Anna was. I think it was in a positive or a negative or a neutral impact.
Generally, it's positive because at least for us as teachers, people tend to trust teachers. And so if we say we think this is a good person to run our school board, they tend to listen to us quite a bit. Because it's their kids and we know their students as well, their children as well as anybody. So,
No, I get it, but it's interesting because I know Bethany Smith and watch her on that school board is something else. I think she's top notch. And Anna, I think she won not because of the teacher's endorsement, because of her grassroots organizing.
Oh, I'm sure it helped her quite a bit because, I mean, like I said, last time she only lost by like 86 votes. So, I mean, she had a base of support that was easy enough to expand.
Mm-hmm.
She really works hard.
She works
she
hard.
really worked hard at getting her people out to vote for her and getting her campaign to work out there.
Yeah, I would say one better. It's almost like she never stopped campaigning.
No, I don't think she really did.
All right. Well, this has turned into a really fun conversation because we were able to talk a little bit about Fairfield School District too. So we were able to kind of float all over the place there. I like that.
All right.
Yeah. Well, it's good seeing you. I'm going to make sure I tell my son that Mr. was here tonight. Yep.
Yeah, you're breaking up again.
Okay. Well, I'll say goodbye to you, and I'm going to say goodbye to our audience. Thank you for hanging out with us. I think we're going to have a celebration party next week. I think early next week we're going to have a reason to celebrate. That's what I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yay! So with that, my name is Patrice Williams. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us. Thank you for everyone on chat and engaging in the conversation. Take care.
Bye.